Okay, students, now it's time to tell you about the system we're going to learn English together. Well, in just moments, I'll start up the program. Okay, so this is the journey in English language. And the first of all, before learning languages, any language or um, anything we want to do, we have to ask ourselves some questions. And the first question, why do you want to study English? This is the motivational question. So find the answer on it. Tell frankly from your heart what do you think, why you need it. The next question is, what level do you need? And we're going to talk more about it. Another question, how often do you plan to practice English? So many students don't have any plan, so that's why they can't succeed and they can't make any progresses. And so they start quickly and quickly finish this. Next one, the final question is, how much time are you going to devote to it? So devote or spend time for it. It's a good question to think about a week for a week. How much time are you going to devote to it? Because, okay, so let's talk a bit about the level first. So, and when we are think about the levels, it's not just about the grammar. As you know, very often, as I face this situation, so then students write the tests or papers, well, some multiple choices like A, B, C, D to add, and they're really successful in it. And sometimes they have a very high level of paper testing. But when they start speaking, this level goes down dramatically. Well, for 2 or 3 levels down. Well, the last week I saw a student who passed the upper intermediate test, but she could speak about like an elementary student. It was a really big gap. It's a really big gap between the written test and speaking. So that's important to count on, not just on the paper. Well, let's take a look on some important questions to it that you'd like to analyze them personally. So the first, have you ever spoken to to an English native? The person who was born from America, Canada, Britain, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. The second question, have you ever had a conversation in English on the telephone? One of the hardest thing is speaking on the phone because you do not see the person, you do not see the lips, you do not hear, you do not see facial expressions or gestures, you just hears his voice and dialect. Well, it's this thing is most difficult thing is, have you ever had an experience in it? Next question is, can you understand TED Talks in English without subtitles? If you know TED Talks, there's presentations on the stage about different topics, usually it's very high level. Next one, have you ever had a job interview in English? That's important experience. So to understand how language works. Or maybe have you ever taken any test in English, like an IELTS, TOEFL, and other international exam system? Have you ever made a presentation in English, online or offline? Well, it's the way how you can present your thoughts, your ideas, not just read from the script. Next is, can you give a 3-5 minute speech in English without any notes, that you had written before? So this is, well, like fluency. So like when you can make up sentences, make up ideas with your own heart simultaneously right now. And have you ever had a conversation in English for longer than 3 minutes and not paused? Like a speech, but without many pauses, stopping, for example, 1 minute speak and then stop and then look, read, okay, and carried on. No, it's number 7, So without stopping. And well, how many of these questions you have said yes? So this is the way how you can analyze your real level, how you can feel, not from just tests on papers. Okay, so let's go to the next slide is about levels. So levels in English are divided into 5, 6 levels. Well, but maybe most of you who have learned already, have experienced this, you know these words like beginner, elementary, pre-intermediate, intermediate, upper intermediate, advanced, and proficiency. Well, but what do these levels mean? Okay, these levels means usually general, grammatic level, and vocabulary. And today is more popular to use for academic thing is the system like A, B, C, 3 levels, but each one divided in 2 or even 3 levels, in 3 stages. For example, A0 is a beginner, total beginner, and then A1, A2. So we can see it doesn't go as well as level 1 and elementary, pre-intermediate, and so on. It's something like stepping on another level. It's very hard to say that exactly intermediate level is, because some people speak or write paper tests on intermediate level successfully, 75% over of them. So this means very good result, but they speak as elementary like A1. So you can see the gap between B1 on papers and A1 in life, natural speech. Well, but that is not all. Maybe you'll be surprised. Have you ever heard that there is business English grade of English language? Let's take a look and let's compare linguistic levels for business. Okay, let's compare them. And the first is 0 level, means no proficiency for business. So this, when we talk about the business, we talk about work. Yes, and you will be assessed or valued by this grade, not by the academic only. That is a more specific. Let's take a look. There's for 0 level, it's level 1 in academic, whereas A0, A1, but it's in business 0 level at all, no proficiency. Level 2, that pre-intermediate and intermediate together, it's level 1, elementary proficiency. So we might be surprised with this because we think it's elementary, it's level 1. Well, but in business, it's level 2, pre-intermediate, intermediate. Then level 2 in business, limited working proficiency, limited, not full, limited. So this is like intermediate, upper intermediate. So we can see how we can value it. And then level 4 in academic, it means level 3. In business, this is professional speaking proficiency, professional working proficiency, sorry. It's C1, very high level and very good. And we have level 4 in business, means full professional proficiency. And in business, we have the maximum level, means native or bilingual proficiency, when a person speaks fluently on at least 2 languages. And now I want to focus on these levels more a bit. Okay, and the first is we remember. So this already translated into Ukrainian to help you not to translate, just to understand what it means. And there's more detailed description what person can and can't do at each level. So level 1, the person can understand simple sentences, ask simple questions, and almost everything. So the person can do. Well, next level is, of course, a higher, but it's limited, still limited. It's on a basic. They mostly are basics and not so detailed. The person feels that he gets not enough vocabulary. Okay, and next one is, I would say this is one of the best levels, because it's upper intermediate, advanced, something like this. And of course, with this level of English, person is much more prepared for very difficult jobs and for the IT areas and the others. Level 4, okay, this is almost like close to the natives, very close to the natives, and the fifth is almost a native, not being that one. Okay, so you can ponder on it or think deeply and consider it later, yes, for a personal study, and to analyze your levels. Okay, so Bobby, everyone wants to be able to speak fluently, so without a lot of pauses, so find quickly vocabulary and accurately. Accurately means grammatically correct. So there's a correct tenses and so on, and also naturally and quickly like a native speaker. Okay, now let's talk a bit about English plan study. Of course, for success, we need plan. Without plan, it doesn't work. For some guys, the textbook is a good plan. Yes, it is. Textbooks give or provide you with material and set a plan. But what about our personal plan? Let's talk about the SPU system of language study. So SPU system, as the abbreviation means study, practice, and usage. And the problem is the students very often devote time for studies and less time with practice and no time for usage or how to use a language in real life. And that's why they're afraid of speaking, they're afraid of making mistakes. So let's focus on each step and how we can prepare for our lessons. The first is study means learning new vocabulary, grammar, doing exercise and homeworks as usual academic way. So, but this step is just the first step. And you can do it on your own, so it's selfly. So without any help, just take a book and do exercise to understand it. And well, it's the easiest way, and it's quite independent way to learn a new language. So, but is this enough to be fluent and accurate speaker? Of course not, because you cannot correct yourself. You cannot see yourself from the other side. You need someone who would help you. So for this is the next step, practice. Practice based on study. Okay, and what does it mean? It means the new vocabulary that you have learned and grammar, you have to add to listening the same things in context and mastering up or practicing the pronunciation. Without pronunciation, especially in English, is impossible to be understood by others. And you will not be able to understand the other people, because English is not the language of letters or just words. It's the language of idea. Very often almost all the time we use some phrases like idioms or specific phrases like phrasal verbs. And we have to understand the system of this. So with this, of course, second step, practice vocabulary and grammar altogether helps dramatically, but it's not the end. Of course, the second step should be with the mentor or teacher or tutor. And the most interesting is the third step is usage, or how to use language in real life. So for this, you need to have someone to speak with, or live conversations, live presentations, phone calls, telephone conversations, some getting together with someone, meeting someone to talk with. Well, and it would be good if they are people of different levels and students as well as native speakers. So with this, you can swim in language and to understand how it works, not on books, but in your heart and on your mind. Oh, well, and with the third step, we have something interesting. It is called ES Cafe. About ES Cafe, I will tell you a bit later, okay? So, but let's go to next step is the program. What kind of program we use for SPU? Study, practice, and usage. Okay, the program is called Speak Like a Native. Of course, like a native, not being a native. Okay, and is this possible? Possible? Yes. My answer is yes, it is, and I have a lot of examples, successful students who started with elementary level and got advanced level with the program. And this program is based on real situations from some cartoons and one family. Well, and this is the vocabulary. For example, when we read this sentence, we can see this, but everything in there costs an arm and a leg. So this sentence means nothing if we read it, or if we hear, we won't understand it at all. Well, in this example, we can see not only a sentence, we have to get the main idea. So, for example, cost an arm and a leg is an idiom. Well, there was but everything in there. So actually practice the pronunciation. Let's see how it is pronounced. And it's pronounced absolutely another as if we can read it. So that's why we have to hear it. Okay. And this is the pronunciation about this, but everything. Okay. Not but everything. Yes, as many people say, but everything. Combining the words in English. And in there, yes, in there. And then one costs an arm and a leg. Nobody could speak like this. Nobody, you will hear this way nowhere speaks or pronounce each word separately. No way. So, but people pronounce as cost an arm and a leg, an arm and a leg, and the stresses. Okay, it's important to catch these keywords, stressed words, and you will, if you learn how to hear, so the music of the language, you'll be able to understand up to 80% of native speakers without a lot or rich vocabulary. It's impossible to learn, to know everything, but you will get a lot by means of this technique, catching the key words. Okay, and after that, about the homework. So what about the homework? Of course, there are two ways of homeworks. There's homeworks that new vocabulary and grammar practice, as you know, I'm sure, yes, like traditional way, and there is another way. Another way is making selfie videos, record from that on the telephone and send messages, but speaking not like this. Okay. Hello, my name is George, and I am an English teacher. Yes, I'm happy to be here with you. It wouldn't be speaking, of course. It would be reading. So if you want to speak, so you have to speak. Don't think about mistakes. Forget about them. Just do whatever you can do. Well, everything you can do. All right. Now let's see some examples how my students speak English while doing homeworks.
Okay, George, hello. That is my answers of my homework. The question is, would you like to be head and shoulders above the other? I wouldn't. I don't like to be head and shoulders above the others, but I like being independent person. This can be achieved by continuously improving my skills and knowledge. My motto in my life is this phrase: if you only do what you can do, you will never be more than you are now. Unfortunately, not all my college like my achievements. They're annoyed at my progress, but that is their problem. I like to be as sharp as a tack in all areas of my life. Okay, bye bye. See you.
Okay, as you can see, the video takes about a minute or 2 minutes, and this is a very good homework because she tried to speak fluently using new vocabulary and the grammar as she could. This is the practice on the regular basis, helps a person to make a very high progress and for a short period of time. And let's look at another example.
Hello, you sent me two questions. What drives me crazy and what do I do to pull myself together? So, honestly, that one thing that really can
So as you can see, well, this student makes some mistakes, but it's no problem. It's practicing. So when we practice, we can make some mistakes, and shortly after that, we will catch our own mistakes and we will correct them ourselves. And with this, we will make a good progress because we will catch the mistakes of our own. That's the hardest thing. Okay, and let's go back to English Speaking Cafe. This is a very interesting project. I want to show you the pictures of this. It's great, isn't it? Well, the pictures describe there's a real cafe. It was English-speaking cafe in some places in 2 towns in Ukraine, and now we have online English-speaking cafe, and we have a group on Telegram. And so about it, I will tell you later, okay? And you'll join to this, and you'll meet other guys, and you will see how it works successfully. Okay, that's it. I guess this is the first touch from me with you, just to give you the general information about our lessons, our work. You can see it's a lot of work, it's a lot of material, it's a lot of preparation, and well, in order you would make a good progress in speaking skills like a native.